Hello and welcome to Hank Games Without Hank. My name is John Green. I'm the manager of AFC Wimbledon, the Wimbly Womblys, and today we're in Europe. Well, we're actually at Wimbly Lane where we play our football, but we're playing in the EuroLeague against Porto. FC Porto, a team that's won a European championship, coming all the way to Wimbledon, a team begun by its fans just over a decade ago, a team that rose from the ashes, and look at us today. In Europe, well, you know, England is part of Europe, really. But we're playing a European squad. I kept it on world-class skill level because, you know, we have to push ourselves. We have to find out how good we are and how good we aren't. Can't tell if that guy's name is Superbach or Kevin, but it's probably Superbach. Anyway, we've got a German referee today. You know, that should be fine. There it is, AFC Wimbledon, currently third. In our group. We need to finish in the top two to advance, so that's what we'll try to do. We've got Hells, Pels, Yabamba, Les Moore. I'm giving another opportunity to start. We got the Brazilian connection in our central defense, and of course Seb Brown, who saved 2 penalties against Manchester City to win us the FA Cup, is playing there. Wow, they have some really good players. Jeez Louise, it was Kelvin, not Kevin, you know. Today I'm going to talk about how to make money on YouTube. Several people have requested this, and I'm happy to talk about it. I mean, I think the short answer is that, you know, you have to have a pretty large audience to make a significant amount of money on YouTube, or like to make it your job. But I think it's interesting that now it is a lot of people's jobs. There are a lot of people, more than 1,000 people anyway, who make their living from YouTube. And while that's very small relative to like the American economy or whatever, or the world economy, it's a significant number of people precisely because it is a job that did not exist not long ago, right? There was no, you know, there was no making a living off of YouTube. Even when Hank and I started making videos in 2007, there was no way to make even $1 off of YouTube. And I remember back then in the very early days of YouTube, there was a lot of controversy when a YouTube video blogger asked her audience to send her money via PayPal so that she could buy a better camera and laptop. People were just like, oh, YouTube is finally sold out. And look at it now. If that looked like selling out, you know, what does it look like now? So for those of you who don't know, 100% of the proceeds from this video blog series go to AFC Wimbledon. Oh, no. Herrera. I've always hated him. I don't know who he is. But you got to say, it's a great play from Porto. They had a chance where I probably would have taken the shot. They made the smart play, headed the ball back into the box, and we're down 1-0 in the 14th minute. And you got to be a little bit worried at this point. We may not. Oh. There's just a lack of speed and finesse and finish in our club. We're still, look, we may be playing in Europe, but let's face it, we're in the 3rd tier of English professional football. Like, we aren't the most technically gifted side. But, you know, we have something that is more important than technical gifts, and that's heart, the ability to come back, the ability to play as a team. We've got 2 men who love each other very much, John Green and John Greenball. John Green, another John Green. They communicate brilliantly on and off the ball. So I'm not without hope at the moment, but certainly, you know, it's not looking good. So anyway, the way you make money off of YouTube, the #1 way is by advertising, right? So 100% of the proceeds from the advertising of AFC Wimbledon, Wimbly Wombly videos goes to the real club, AFC Wimbledon, which is formed by its fans and today owned by its fans and always will be. And I really, you know, and we get to sponsor the club, and it's really cool. And lots of nerd fighters go to actual AFC Wimbledon games, which is so awesome. And thank you guys for doing that. It makes me very, very happy. And I hope to go to a game the next time I'm over in the UK. But yeah, it's a percentage of the ad revenue that Google brings in from the little advertisements that show up either at the bottom of the screen or next to the video or by the or in a pre-roll form. So yes, this is not an encouragement or an inducement of any kind, but if you watch that whole ad, the YouTuber in question will get you know, will get a percentage of the money. If you don't watch the whole ad, they get nothing. So or else very little, somewhere between nothing and very little. So do know that. I think that's a good thing to know when you're thinking about how to sort of like use your time, how to use your the value of your eyeballs, the value of you watching advertisements to advertisers. But I don't feel, I don't ever think that you should feel obligated. Oh no, this is just not good. Oh, we're just going to have to rethink the skill level, I think, because we're getting played off the pitch. Then again, I mean, we don't really deserve to be winning in the Europa League. Like, Porto is the best team in Portugal, and Portugal may not be the strongest, oh my gosh, footballing club in the world, footballing country in the world, but they are pretty strong. They have Cristiano Ronaldo, after all. Oh, just can't get a pass through. Porto is like a wall. It's like a porthole that doesn't let any balls through. Anybody? No? My bad. So yeah, that's how you make money. I'm not allowed. In fact, no one is allowed to say how much money it is per 1,000 views. But you can Google it and get a pretty good sense of it. It's not a lot. It's you know, this is not like the advertising-driven model is, to me, like kind of inherently flawed because it doesn't value the extent of the engagement, because all advertisers want is to make sure that people see their ad for Tide or whatever. They don't care if like the video that you're watching really matters to you. You know, there's a difference between the relationship that I have with like a Wheezy Waiter or Grace Helbig video and the relationship I have with like a video about cats. And advertisers aren't very good at measuring that difference, and I think that tends to result in lowest common denominator stuff on some level. Like, it results in the stuff that the most people want to watch instead of the right people. And kind of the glorious thing about YouTube in its early days, there were many problems, but one of the glorious things was that because it wasn't an advertising-driven platform, you know, people were looking for the best viewers instead of the most viewers. Not exclusively, but at least some of the time. But of course, there are also other ways to make money off of YouTube. Like, for instance, if you write books, you can, you know, you can sell them, or you can at least let people know when you have a new book out. I think that's a big part of how musicians on YouTube make money, and also there's you know, merch stuff like T-shirts that can be really important. And then there's crowdfunding, and that's a big part of how we fund our kind of the projects that we do that are educational projects that aren't going to get, you know, millions of views per video and are quite expensive to make, like Crash Course and SciShow. We fund those partly through advertising and partly through crowdfunding. People who care about the show and like it and want to see it kind of continue and grow, they are the ones who make it possible through their monthly contributions through Subbable, and that's a big part of a really big part for us. I think less so for most people, but we rely on that. Oh, that was a terrible cross. We rely on that because, you know, some of our stuff, like Vlogbrothers videos, we don't run pre-rolls on, so they make almost nothing, but that's fine because, you know, Hank and I are really lucky to both have other jobs from this, so like we have a measure of luxury when it comes to thinking about how and whether to monetize the stuff that we make that most people don't have, because this is their job and they need to find ways to pay for the stuff that they make. Yeah, but that's, I mean, I think those are the big ways to make money, but you can't count, I mean, I'm a big believer in developing an audience for something and worrying about the money after you worry about whether the thing is cool and useful and a good thing to have in the world. So, you know, when we were starting the art assignment with PBS, we weren't talking about how are we going to make sure that this can pay for itself someday. We were talking about how there's not a lot of good contemporary arts educational content online right now that's engaging and well curated and features, you know, professionals with lots of experience. And then we thought, oh, well, we should do that. So I think like that's the best place to begin a conversation for any video series. Not how am I going to pay for this? Not how is this going to like pay off someday? But like, is this a thing that would be like a good and useful thing to have in the world? And if it will be, then like. Then I think a lot of times, not all the time obviously, but a lot of times the money side of things, God, these guys are good, just works itself out. You know, and as long as you're pretty open and transparent with your audience, I've found at least that they're really understanding about, you know, about finding creative ways to fund stuff. So I mean, obviously, like Hank and I have been absurdly lucky in being able to do this thing that we love doing for a living for so long. And we are conscious of the fact that we are absurdly lucky, and I think a lot of it had to do with being relatively early to YouTube, and then some of it was just a function of the community that grew up around our videos being uncommonly supportive and passionate, and really like wanting to see us make new stuff and make good stuff, and encouraging us when we did, and also kind of pushing us in the right direction when we came up short, you know, by saying like, this is not, wow, great goal. I mean, you've got to say that was just good. If this is Porto at home, I hate to think about what it's going to be like when we actually go to Portugal, because we are just getting we're getting our pants played off. Is that a phrase? Oh my God, I can't even make a pass. This is like, it's like they're playing on semi-pro skill level. Off the post, and it was a beautiful shot. I mean, at this point, there does come a time where you just have to say, like, wow, I'm watching beautiful football be played, and even though it's being played by my opponent, I appreciate it. And I think we've reached that point in this game. It's just, we're just getting absolutely smacked down. And full points to Porto, and full credit to them and their supporters, because some days you just get beat. And this is going to be one of those days. Let's hope we can keep it at 3. We can't. It's 4. Wow. Yikes. Yikes. Difficult day for AFC Wimbledon. No two ways about it. This is also, you got to admit, not great for our goal difference. But we're going to head back to professional skill level after this game, and hopefully we'll be a little better there. But you know, we're not ready for the bright lights in the big city of Europe, ladies and gentlemen. That much is now clear. Like, we are just not prepared for this hot. Oh, that was a nice tackle. That was fine. Something good came out of this game, because that was a good tackle. Let's see if we can just go get one goal on the strength of Yabamba's long, beautiful runs. No, we can't. Well, geez, this has been difficult. I do think that I think that money is important in thinking about YouTube, and I think money is important generally, and it's a huge way to figure out how to fund things and how to make good and useful things. But like, for me, if all you're doing is making money, then like, it's just not that fun. Oh, I thought we might get it at the end, but we didn't, because Les Moore has just struggled. No two ways about it. He struggled with that left foot. Maybe he's a righty, but his name is L. Moore. Anyway, we got our butts kicked. They were a better team, but wow. Seb Brown's got his hands on his hips like he likes to do, and I mean, he didn't have a bad game. Everybody had a bad game. Thanks for watching. Best wishes.